Hey guys, welcome back to Zach Recap. Let's watch a new anime today. The anime is called Black Summoner. At the start of the story, a young man named Kelvin has just been born again in a different world. He died because a god accidentally killed him by mistake. As a return, he got to decide what skills he would have in his next life. Kelvin doesn't know where he is when he wakes up. He sees a menu that says, "Welcome to the new world." When he presses the start button, he hears a voice start to greet him. It tells him that he has been reborn in a fantasy world and that his memories have been erased. This was a deal he made to get stronger skills. Kelvin can't understand why his past self would let his memories be erased. When the status window opens, the skills he chose are shown. He has an S-rank summoning skill and the ability to get twice as many stats as he levels up. Kelvin is excited to start his adventure when he sees how skilled he is. The voice tells him to go to the town nearby and sign up to be an adventurer at the guild. Along the way, Kelvin stops and asks the menu if it wants to go on his adventure with him. When he remembers that his memories were erased, it turns out that he fell in love with the goddess of reincarnation, Melfina, and asked her to be his servant. She agreed because she wanted to take a break from her job. Kelvin doesn't know how he could love her if he didn't remember her. He asks if he can call her to him, but she tells him that he needs to get stronger and have more mana first. He arrives to the Adventurers Guild and registers as a simple wizard while concealing his summoner's ability. As Melfina says, summoners are so rare that monarchs would go to battle to get one. He begins at the lowest F rank, and the clerk explains that you can only accept tasks up to one rank higher than your own, and you can advance up a rank by completing 10 missions in a succession. He accepts his first assignment to slaughter some blue slimes. He grabs a wooden rod, which aids in his magical skill, and walks to the fields. He encounters 3 slimes. Melfina instructs him to practice his other S-rank ability, the Evaluating Eye. It gives him access to all of the slime stats. At the top of the list, he can view the stats of anybody 100 levels higher than him. Melfina informs him that if he can damage the slime, he has trapped it. First, Kelvin hits with his rod rather than magic, so he doesn't destroy it all at once. The slimes are more difficult than he thought, but he ultimately lands a strike on it, weakening it enough for him to tame it. The taming is effective, and he gives it the name Clotho. He calls it, and as it hops up and down, it seems to have developed a personality. They take on some more slimes with Clotho. Kelvin summons a slime with his wind magic, and Clotho runs circles around and smashes the other. Kelvin finds that Clotho has become much stronger since being his summon. Melfina reveals that his slave's S-level summoner's talent gives them a 100 boost to all stats. She also informs him that he is the only S-rank summoner in this realm, with the rest being B or C rank. Kelvin goes back to town and tries to find a place to stay the night. He sees an elf in a cage along the way. He is upset to learn that slavery is common in this world, but he tries not to think about it. He gets a room at the inn and eats his first meal in the world. Kelvin starts grinding, leveling up and learning new skills. He learns the skill of concealment, which lets him hide his stats and the fact that he used her skill from other people. Clotho could even change into a huge slime that ate everything in its path. After a week, Kelvin has already been moved up to the E rank. He is getting a lot of attention because he did his mission alone and got a promotion so quickly. There is another man called Cackle in the guild, who calls himself a D-rank adventurer. He is known in the guild for beating up on new adventurers. He invites Kelvin to join his group on a Black Ghost Knight D-rank hunt. Kelvin is good at judging, so he can tell that Cackle is a murderer. He suggests that they race to see who can kill the monster first instead of joining him. Cackle leaves and meets up with Gimel and Raj, who are also in his criminal group. At a broken-down castle, they plan to kill Kelvin. Cackle and his group show up. They are shocked to find that all of the monsters are already dead. Kelvin shows up and tells them that he has seen through their plan. He then challenges them to a fight. He makes fun of Raj, who rushes right at him and falls into a trap Kelvin set with his ability to hide things. Raj gets stuck and begins to sink. Kelvin uses his wind magic to attack, and Gimel runs away. But Clotho stops him from leaving and chases him back inside. Clotho knocks out Gimel with one hit and ties up Raj. Cackle tries to attack Kelvin, but he too is easily beaten up. They both admit that they were looking for new players to hunt for experience, so Kelvin ties them up and turns them in. Kelvin keeps hunting until he finds the monster and asks it to join his group. It turns out that his name is Gerard, and he is surprisingly nice, like an old uncle. He even gave Kelvin some candy. Gerard says that he used to be a knight, but after he died, he turned into a black ghost. Before he can join Kelvin, he needs to see how strong he is. They fight, and Gerard can stop all of Clotho's attacks. Gerard strikes back at Kelvin, and Kelvin just barely avoids the blow. Kelvin uses his air magic to match Gerard's movements as Clotho keeps attacking. Gerard remembers why he's there. He wants to get back at an elf named Gildora for destroying the kingdom he worked for and killing his wife and daughter. With this memory, Gerard breaks free of Kelvin's magic and runs at him. Kelvin ties him up again, and Clotho shoots a big beam at Gerard. The next day, Kelvin gives the guild a piece of Gerard's armor as proof that the job was done. Everyone in the guild is shocked by what he did. Kelvin gets his special promotion to D rank because of this and the fact that he caught the shell. Gerard becomes Kelvin's new monster. Later, Kelvin meets Leo, the leader of the guild. When Leo asks him if he is from another world, he is surprised. Kelvin figures out that Leo's appraisal skill is better than his ability to hide, so he can see all of his stats and skills. Kelvin has no choice but to say that he is a summoner in the room of the guildmaster. He asks Leo why he didn't do anything about Cackle. Leo says he knew Cackle was a murderer, but because he was a noble of the Tricyn nation, he needed proof, so he's glad Kelvin took care of him. Leo says that he wants to be friends with Kelvin and that he has met other people from other worlds before, like the heroes of the Holy Empire der Amos. Melfina says that she is the one who brought them back to life. Leo tells Kelvin he will tell him more about the heroes of Deramis later and says that the priestess told him about the demon lord coming back to life. All the other monsters have become stronger and more dangerous because of the demon lord. Leo asks Kelvin to protect the town instead of the heroes because he already has the skills of an S-ranked adventurer. They agree to work together after Leo gives him a number of perks, such as a higher rank and more help on missions. When they get back to the inn, Claire congratulates him on getting to B rank. Kelvin asks Melfina about the heroes of Deramis as he eats his lunch in his room. She tells him that a year ago, the priestess of the Deramis Empire did a summoning ritual. As a result, she reincarnated other people, choosing them because they were smart and beautiful. When Kelvin hears this, he goes to Clotho, who he has been using to store his reward money, and gets it back. He goes to the alley where slaves are being sold. He tells Gerard that he is going to train a slave to be his rear guard, which will make his group stronger. When he gets to the alley, there is a man who is on fire. Kelvin sees the half-elf he saw the day before. Nobody wants to buy her, the slave trader says, because she is cursed and will burn anyone who touches her. Kelvin can tell by using his skill at judging that she is cursed by the Fire Dragon King. Melfina tells him that the only way to get rid of this is an unranked white spell called Sacred Bless. The elf watches Kelvin as he walks away. Kelvin comes back later and offers to buy the elf. The slave trader doesn't understand why he would want a cursed slave, but when Kelvin gives him a bag of gold, he gives the elf to him. As they walk back to the inn, the elf tells Kelvin that her name is Ephil and thanks him for buying her. When Kelvin comes near her, she backs away because she's afraid her curse will hurt him. Kelvin casts Sacred Bless on her, which breaks the curse and lets him touch someone for the first time in his life. Ephil can't help but cry and thank Kelvin. When they get back to the inn, Claire takes Ephil under her wing. They have dinner together while Ephil is dressed as a maid. After that, Kelvin tells her all of his secrets. He tells her that he is a summoner and introduces her to Gerard and Clotho. He helps her decide how to use her skill points and gives her the option to learn how to make her own decisions. At night, though, they have to share a bed, which means Kelvin won't be able to sleep. After a month, Ephil has become a very dangerous archer. By putting the Dragon King's blessing on archery together with her own skill, she has made something new. Angie, the guild secretary, congratulates them at the guild on a job well done. Angie and Ephil have become friends, and Angie tells Ephil about a new dessert cafe that just opened in town. They decide to go look, and Ephil asks Kelvin to come along. The next day, the three of them get together, and Kelvin can't believe how cute Ephil looks. They go to the cafe, where Ephil tries to feed Kelvin, which makes him feel bad. Everyone is watching them. Kelvin's friends are jealous because he is out with two girls on a date. All of a sudden, their table falls over. Tabura, the third prince of Tricyn, and his two guards come in. When the prince's guards try to grab Angie and Ephil out of pride, Kelvin beats them up and throws them away. Kelvin uses his magic to tie him up and make him talk about his business. Tabura says he came to hire a strong adventurer because he wanted to improve his bad reputation. Kelvin says that he is the adventurer, and Tabura's offer is turned down. Colette goes to the Temple of Daramis in the meantime. She shows up in front of Melfina Oracle, who tells her how far the heroes have come. Melfina gives the heroes a prophecy that says they should fight an evil in the west and stay away from PT Arth, where Calvin is staying. Just as the heroes arrive, Melfina leaves, and Colette tells them what their new mission is. Back at the inn, Ephil asks Kelvin if he thinks she's pretty. This makes Kelvin nervous, so Ephil tells him she loves him. Kelvin tries to calm her down, but he can't give in to his desire because Ephil is still a slave and he doesn't want to take advantage of her. The next day, Melfina tells Kelvin about the heroes of Duramus and their abilities. After a year, they are only around level 50, which doesn't impress Kelvin. Melfina is also upset with them because she can see that Kelvin is almost ahead of them. Claire jumps in and tells them that the guild needs them. Kelvin meets Leo, who tells him that a sealed demon was found in a dungeon's hidden room. Melfina tells him that demons are some of the strongest creatures in the world. Leo tells Kelvin about the trouble he caused when he attacked the Trison Prince, and Kelvin takes the job right away. Kelvin's group goes into the dungeon. As they go through the cave, they reach the secret room. As soon as they walk in, they see the sealed demon and another demon who calls himself Victor the Archdemon. Kelvin asks Victor about the sealed demon, and Victor says that she is the daughter of the last demon lord who was defeated. She was sealed by magic that can only be broken by a human. Victor thinks that if he eats Kelvin, he will be able to break the seal like a human, and then he will eat the girl to become the next demon lord. Victor stands in the way of the exit and charges at them, but Gerard is able to stop him. Kelvin tries to stop Victor from moving, but he gets away easily. Kelvin starts to smile, which Gerard tells Ephil. Kelvin does something bad all the time. He is a bowel junkie. The stronger his opponents are, the more he wants to win. That's it for today. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like this video and consider subscribe the channel. That means a lot to me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.